So here we go. We got the Giants. We got the Eagles. Is it a battle for first place? Is it a battle for last place? I don't know. You had an interesting point about the Eagles when we spoke before the Action Network live show, which comes on every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And you were kind of fascinated by the Eagles holding out a bunch of guys in that Ravens game and kind of gearing up for this Thursday night game. Now, it looks like Alshon Jeffrey is going to miss again. He's been practicing, does not look like he's going to return this week, so he's out. Deshaun Jackson, though, will be back, but Miles Sanders out for the Eagles. Zach Ertz out for the Eagles. What do you make of this game with the Eagles kind of shuffling some pieces here on offense? Every time they get one guy back, it's like one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah, maybe they should have sat Sanders and Ertz for that game. But I think from there, and Deshaun Jackson's still limited, so who knows how many snaps he's going to get and how long it takes before he's limping to the sideline. But from the initial depth chart the Eagles had going into the season, there's two guys left if Deshaun Jackson can't go the whole game. That's Jason Kelce and Carson Wentz for this game. That's it. So, it's a tough game to cap. It's what I think it's going to come down to is, Carson Wentz is going to have to play hero ball with some of his backup receivers, and that's either going to lead to a couple big plays or a couple turnovers, and that's probably going to swing this game one way or the other. In addition, what does Danny Dimes do against a good Eagles defensive line that should be able to generate pressure against the Giants' weakness, which is their offensive line? So I think it's going to come down to like one or two turnovers. I make the line 4-ish. The over-under is about fair. I see a tad bit of value in the under, but the Eagles have been playing a little faster. And one of the things that I wanted to note is the Giants have played the Steelers, number 2 overall DVOA defense, the Bears, number 5, the Rams, number 13, the Cowboys, way down, they put up 34, Washington, number 7. So, they've played, outside of the Cowboys game, which they actually did score, they've played a number of really good defenses. And they've hung around in these games. They've been competitive. So will the offense look a lot better against an Eagles defense, which is nowhere near the caliber of a top-rated defense? Will they actually throw to Evan Ingram? That's where you can exploit this Eagles defense up the seam. I don't know. But I did want to point out that if you are thinking about backing this under, it's amazing how quick the NFL market catches up. All this talk was about overs. Overs on the year now are 46, 44, and 1. And if you go by month, they were 29 and 19 in September, 17 and 25 so far in October. Now, small sample size, there's a lot of noise in there. So I went and looked at what are the things that have been driving these totals going up. We talked about a number of things. We talked about penalties. Well, holding calls on the year are still at about 1.96 per week. They ticked up a bit over the past 3 weeks, but they're still under 2. They've been about, they were 2.7 last year, 2.8. So holding calls are still down. If you look at PI for the year is about 1.45 defensive pass interference calls per game. Historically, it's around 1. Last year's around 1.2. So penalties are still helping the offense in general. It'll be something that I continue to monitor. If you look at points per game, week 1, 47.5. Week 2, 53.3. Week 3, 52.2. Week 4, 52.5. Week 5, 51.8. Week 6, 47.4. So for the season, we're at about 51, which is still about 3 or 4 points higher than last year. But we're starting to see pace is now normalized. So pace has come back down. You're starting to see worse weather. You're starting to see more backup quarterbacks. Quarterback injuries now happen. But yards per point are actually down. And what that means is efficiency overall from an offensive standpoint is up. And what I think that speaks to directly is fourth down decisions. So you're seeing many more teams go for it on fourth down at prolonged drives. Instead of kicking a field goal, they'll go for it on 4th and 1. And then instead of punting, or kicking a field goal, they're able to convert the 4th and 1 and then score a touchdown. We're seeing that a lot more. So I still think that, and there's still no fans, so the communication is conducive to offenses. I still think it's a overall over-friendly environment with the penalties, with the coaching decisions. Teams are also getting smarter about throwing on first down, but the market has adjusted. The market has certainly adjusted. So don't be afraid. I think we can just treat these over-unders now as how we see them playing out. Don't be afraid to get in on unders, but it's something I'll continue to monitor and update the podcast. But for this game, I probably won't have anything the market looks about fair. And I think it'll just come down to a couple key turnovers. And Wentz has shown he'll throw them. Danny Dimes has shown that he'll cough it up when he gets pressured. So it's probably a stay away for me. As I always say, if I could find a reason to stay away from Thursday night, I will. And I have plenty of reasons to stay away here.
Yeah, and when you talk about going for it on 4th down, the Giants and the Eagles are actually both top 6 in 4th down attempts. The Eagles are 3 of 9. The Giants are 6 of 8. Both of these teams are kind of middling to bad on 3rd downs, and it's I think the under does have a little bit of value, but it's come down some. You really don't know about this Eagles offense; it's so banged up. But you look at the Eagles, and they've been struggling all year, and their pace when in a situation like this game script will likely or is more likely to play out than it has been in other weeks for the Eagles. They're number 23 in seconds per play with a 7-point lead or more. Now, total seconds per play in terms of, total pace, Eagles are number 5. In the second half, they're number 3. They're usually down. When the game is close, within 6, they're number 9. When they trail by 7 or more, they're number 3. So if the Eagles can jump out to a lead, usually you're kind of saying, okay, maybe this game will be a little higher scoring. But I think if the Eagles jump out to a lead, it actually might be a good live under spot, because I think they'll slow it down. And the Giants have, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know how they're going to get it going on offense against still a solid D-line for the Eagles. But I do think Evan Ingram has to get involved. I mean, Philly's number 31 in DVOA against the tight end position. And this is like the offense needs Evan Ingram. It's not just like, okay, there's other guys, maybe, Slayton. It's not like Shepard's there and Tate's not doing much. So you need Ingram. So I wouldn't be surprised if he were to go off. But overall, I think this game does lean toward an under. And I'd look out for that if the Eagles get up, because that's really the only time they've kind of slowed it down a bit.